Jamming. Today will be part 2 of identifying and rating moods with the Love Project. So I am really going to try and stick to the 15-minute time period. So with that being said, I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Chelsea Smith. I'm the Love Project, and the Love Project is a journal lifestyle brand in the entertainment community. Now, just a little bit about me. I've been journaling for over 17 years, and I've been studying psychology for 12 years. So I know based off of experience and based off knowledge, just how journaling, specifically having a journaling lifestyle, can improve the quality of your life. Now, in my brand, I have seven more elements of health that can improve the quality of your life, including spirituality, your financial life, your intellectual life, your environmental life, your emotional life, your physical life, and your social life. Tonight, we will be focusing more on the emotional side of improving our lives. So, usually when I speak to people who say they want to journal, but they don't know how, it's because either they lack the discipline, they don't know what to write, or they doubt themselves for sounding unorganized. So I just want to pose myself as a student and a guide to help you fix all of those things. And the reason why this is important is because a lot of us tend to suffer from trauma. And if you define trauma is a body wound or it's a shock produced by sudden physical injury as a result of violence or accident. Now, another definition says that it's an experience that produces a psychological injury or pain. I think that psychological injury and pain is actually the most important. So when we suffer from trauma, whether it's psychological or it's body wound, violence, or accident, we don't always have the right healthy coping mechanisms. And the reason why I like journaling is because of 17 years, it's always helped me. So this is why a lot of us tend to seek therapists, life coaches, or if they don't have the money for that, they tend to resort to drugs and alcohol and perhaps even toxic relationships, codependent relationships. And this issue of trauma, it links to a larger issue, a larger philosophical issue in our world, and that being that the majority of world conflict and death is somehow due to emotional trauma, relationships, and psychological issues. Now, you can look at some of the most crazy stories out there of just things just went wrong, and a lot of it has some sort of root to relational issues, or either with that person themselves or with somebody else that they have feelings for. Now, it goes larger than that, of course, but that's just a foundation. So with that being said, I like to emphasize that journals can be tools for our survival. And I want to teach you how to use it so that not only it can work for you, but it can inspire the next person and save more people from their traumas. And as an added bonus to beginning your story, it's worth noting the benefits of incorporating more journaling into your lifestyle. So, usually every Friday, I will post benefits of journaling. And so today I posted one, and it has a lot to do with this lesson tonight. But not only does it help you improve your communication, help you heal, spark your creativity, and boost your self-confidence, it will overall give you greater happiness and life satisfaction. So that is something that I want to do, as well as help people who want to journal to begin their stories. So I'm currently working on publishing one of my journals now as a graphic memoir from when the Love Project first began. And eventually I want to inspire more people to be able to use their journals not only for mental health, but to leave a legacy behind, because I believe that, with this new world era that we're going into, it's really hard to start businesses nowadays, especially with the economy being what it is. But picking up a pen and paper is one of the most easiest things to do, and it is the most helpful thing to do if you do it for the right reasons. So like I said, my mission with the Love Project in the entertainment community, and it's my promise, it's going to be my promise to inform you, inspire you, and connect you with yourself as well as others on your journey to self-actualization, and as well as start your story. So self-actualization, I always like to define that term. If you're not familiar with that psychological term, self-actualization is the achievement of one's potential through creativity, independence, and spontaneity. It also helps you get a greater grasp of the real world. All right, so with that being said, I am sticking to 15 minutes only. In my last lesson, I answered 3 questions. We were talking about identifying and rating moods. And so I'll just review those questions and then go on to the worksheets that I will be posting on my Artists and Players page. So give me a second while I find that. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So in my last lesson, we talked about we answered 2 questions thus far. The first question was, how do we get better at identifying our moods so that we can write them down for our stories? And we talked about remembering the thought and physical reaction connection. So one of the ways that we can better identify our moods is just realizing, first and foremost, physical sensations within the body. So, for example, usually if you have like tight shoulders, for example, tight shoulders can usually be a symbol that you are afraid or you're irritated, or heaviness in the body could possibly mean that you're depressed or disappointed. So just realizing the thought and physical connection can provide clues on how to identify what mood you're feeling in that moment. A second way that we talked about was at getting better at identifying your moods is just to pay close attention in your daily life to the emotions that you feel. So if you can perhaps be more mindful about the moods that you feel, and you can name at least 3 of those, then that's a good practice on identifying the moods that you feel. My last one that we talked about, another strategy at identifying your moods, is to simply reflect. And so this was something that I did today. So your journal is actually a great tool for reflection. So you use your journal to reflect on a recent situation in which you felt a really strong emotional reaction, and you mark the moods. And it's helpful. One of the tools that I provide every Wednesday and Friday is I provide a mood chart. So if anyone is following a journey within their journal, and they are working at getting better at identifying their emotions, if they are reflecting on a recent situation in which they felt a strong emotional reaction, they can mark those moods from the list that they felt. This is important, especially to jot down in your journal for your story, because usually it's the presence of strong emotions that tell you that something important is happening. So I'm not going to stay on that topic too long because I want to go to the next question. The last thing that I did answer was not to confuse your moods with your thoughts. So it's, as a general rule, moods can be identified in one word. So as you journal more, you use the tips and the answers that we previously discussed in my last lesson, as well as the mood chart that I provide. You will get better at not only identifying your moods, but also being more specific about them. And so that led me to my next question. Why Why is it important to be specific about the moods that we experience and write them down as part of our stories? So, number one, if you want to start to improve the quality of your life and starting to feel good about it, learning which specific moods we experience is an important step to better understanding our reactions that we tend to feel when life throws shit at us. So, excuse my language, but you know the saying that says, it's not what life does to you, but it's how you react to it. So, when we're more specific about our feelings on paper, our thoughts and feelings on paper about life events and situations, we can understand our reactions and predict how we will act in the future and set some goals. So that's really how journaling starts to really work for you. These baby steps can really get you in the game to improving the quality of your life. And I also want to note to not discount the challenges that you may feel. You know, this is what growth and development is about in a hero's journey. And in that journey, you are the hero. And as your guide and as a student myself, I don't want you to aimlessly write about your feelings. Like, I don't want you to soak in them for too long. You can take as much time as you need to vent, but eventually, if you are writing specific moods down and you know how these situations make you feel, then you can set goals to further along your story. You don't want to stay in one place for too long. So when you identify specific moods, you can set goals to improve your moods. And you can also track your progress. This is what makes journaling so cool, because of the ways that you can utilize it for your development. You can use it for self-expression, and you can also still reap the benefits that journaling can provide in improving the quality of your life and life satisfaction. My last note on this, before we move on to our next writing prompt and last question, is just noting how helpful it is to learn the differences between your thoughts, your moods, your physical reactions, your behavior, and your environment. And this is so you can figure out which parts of your experience. So you're getting specific about your moods, and now you're getting specific about how you can handle these problems. So this is important so you can figure out which parts of your experience in writing you can set goals on, so you can change in regards to making your life better, as well as move your story along forward as a true thought leader. So whichever life you're leading, you can move that story forward. So I made some content and I'll share it in my Artists and Players page. It's a writing prompt on identifying your moods, and it's also another writing prompt on rating your moods. And I'll share that on the Artists and Players page for now. Once I have my journey, my TLP journey completely outlined, then I'll move all of that content over to this page. But for now, I'm just getting it all out here first so that I can reflect on it later. So my last question is, what if you struggle with multiple moods? That's actually a really good question, because 9 times out of 10, not everybody struggles with just one mood at a time. So, if you struggle with multiple moods, it's recommended that you choose the mood that is distressing you the most. So, for example, if you're feeling both anxious and you're feeling depressed, which one do you want relief of from most? And when I share the identifying your mood and rating your mood worksheet, you will see that you can use it for multiple moods. I'll give you a preview of what it looks like. So it literally says situation, and then at the bottom it says mood. So in the situation portion, you'll write down the situation that caused you the mood. And remember, mood is only one word. So you can put maybe anxious, stressed. You can write down as many moods that situation allowed you to feel. And so if you struggle with multiple moods, you want to write them all down first, and then just use that same content to work on each mood individually. Now, it sounds like a lot of work, but honestly, this is for your mental health. This is for you. This is your work that a lot of people don't know how to do when it comes to fixing the turmoil inside of them. This is easy work. It's just maybe a little tedious. But if you do struggle with multiple moods, you can use the guided worksheets that I'll share as your foundation, because these are CBT skills that are helpful to manage these moods that will probably help boost your happiness, which is a major goal in my offer with the Love Project. And it's helpful to make your measurements and your identifications before you start to write your journal entries, so you can have a record of where you started. And then as your story continues, you'll see where you started and how you've improved. And you can make it fun by using different colors for each different mood. That's something that I do in my journal. These are the different colors that I use. I go to Michael's and I get these really cool colors. They don't bleed through the page. They're Sharpies, so they write pretty smooth. And if you run out of a color, you can actually buy them individually if you just need a replacement. So usually, like when I'm feeling really spiritual, I will write in purple. Or if I'm feeling angry, I'll write in red. Or if I'm feeling calm or smart and intellectual, I'll write in blue or sky blue. So that usually makes it fun. So that was my topic today. My time is up. I stuck to 15 minutes, like I said. Apparently went like 2 minutes over. But we answered 3 questions. And that was, if I remember, it was, how do we identify and rate our moods? Why is it important to be specific about our moods? And what if you struggle with multiple moods? So the next lesson, I will be more detailed about the worksheets that I'll provide. I may share them on my story, but I want to really solidify this lesson, because in the next chapter, we'll be talking about setting personal goals and noticing improvement. So I'll see you guys next Friday, and we'll be talking more about the worksheets on identifying and rating our moods. That way we can move forward to setting goals and noticing improvements in our journal stories. All right, you guys, have a great night. Have a good weekend, and I will see you next time.